And we're live. What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin from the Thrifting Lounge. And tonight we have a pretty big special guest, none other than Cindy Sorley from COS. She runs her own Facebook group. Plus, she's hugely widely known around the whole thrifting world. And she specializes in Afghans, crochet Afghans, needlepoint, cross stitch, and many other things she does too. I want to just kind of start off by saying that she is one of the reasons why I started collecting the stuff that she specializes in, because she took a lot of the time with me. And I mean, there was late nights. Remember, Cindy, late nights where you would be like on there for hours talking to me about, you know, what to look for, how to do stuff like that with the Afghans and everything, and even help me price my items. So I mean, she's a very, very nice, genuine person. And so I guess what I'll do is I'll ask her how she started, how long she's been doing it, and you know, what she's doing now.
I guess. Hi, everybody. Welcome, everybody from the Thrifting Lounge and other groups, and also my COS members. First of all, Kevin, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I started doing needlework in college in Mississippi in 1981. And I never looked back. I've had 3 brick-and-mortar stores, one in New Jersey, one in Colorado, and actually 2 here in Utah. Ended up closing those after about 7 years ago. I had a little surprise right before our 20th wedding anniversary, found out I was pregnant, and we had a 14-year-old at home, and now we have a 27-year-old and a 12-year-old. So almost 13-year-old. He'll be 13 in November. So I had him in the store, and he was starting to tear things down, and we just thought, let's try to sell on eBay, because I was a buyer on eBay. I'd been a buyer for a while. So I started selling full-time on eBay in 2002, and I've never looked back. My needlework stores, all the supplies I brought home. We built a warehouse in the backyard, and since then I've bought out 7 other needlework stores or massive hoards. And this week, I didn't check for sure, but I'm close to 26,000 feedback.
Wow.
So,
congratulations. That's huge.
And I found out only 25% of my people, 25% leave feedback anymore. So
I've noticed that too the last few months. Like, it's weird. Like, I wanted to hurry up and get to over 100 so I could get, you know, start earning my top-rated seller. This was back before, of course, a few months ago, before we had the whole new defect rate. Which I'm sure we'll discuss tonight, since you know a lot about it also. But I've noticed ever since I hit 100, it's like a lot of people don't want to leave feedback.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I have 2 accounts, and so with my total feedback on both accounts, it's just right under 60,000. So what I did is I had 2 stores. I had a store for needlework, and then for the other stuff that I thrifted, and I ended up merging them, and it's worked out really well. So people ask me all the time, I have different stores and I have different things. I put all of mine together, and the reason why is it's so much easier for me, because I have almost 2,300 items listed in my store. Easier for me, and also I find that people come in my store and they want to shop. If you go to Nordstrom's or you go to Dillard's or somewhere and you look for something, they don't carry just clothing. They carry also household goods and everything like that. So along with my needlework, you know, I was a little concerned about carrying coffee cups and plush animals and stuff, but I have people that buy all of it. I mean, last week I had a lady buy a coffee cup, a T-shirt, and 5 cross-stitch patterns, and they all went to Australia. So I'm a firm believer of mixing it. So if you do categories, it's awesome.
Yeah, see, I think I ran into your group a long time ago before I started talking about, actually, when I found out about the whole the Disney, what are those Disney bears that go really expensive?
The Duffies, the pre-Duffies and the Duffies? Yeah.
Pre-Duffies. And your friend in there, oh, what's her name, Patty, she got 3 of them like a couple months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
You know who I think you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, but it was the same store. It was a grand opening that day. I went to the same store, and we were kind of in a rush, so I was there for 3 hours when the Goodwill opened up. I think I spent $400, and I missed the Duffy Bears, but come to find out that night, she posted them on your group, and I'm like, where'd you find those? She's like, the new opening store up on US 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, I missed out on 3 Duffy Bears in one place.
Okay, but you know my philosophy. If you've been in class long enough, it wasn't meant to be for you, and it'll happen down the road. And, you know, you missed it, but there's plenty of opportunities out there to find something else. And you know
Yeah,
what? It just wasn't meant to be.
exactly how I look at things too. Like it's hard because like you can really stay up late all night long just thinking about like the stuff you miss, but it's really about the stuff you actually find that you turn into money. You know, it's like okay, I may have missed on that, but maybe next time now I'll start looking for those items. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
one really cool thing that we're doing in my group, on Sundays we have a lesson of an item a week. So a couple of weeks ago it was on Pyrex, and then last week was Corningware, and then this week was on jadeite. And so what we're trying to do is, I tell everybody, I walk into a thrift store and I go to certain areas. I go to needlework, I go to rubber stamps, I go to crocheted Afghans. So my market is in there. I walk by thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff every day, but I don't know that market. I tell people, learn a new market every month. Learn something new every month to go look for.
That's the same with me. Every time I go to a store, and this is how I started though. I used to look at everything in my phone me at all times, and I would look at any little item and look it up. And I kind of gone away with it, and I really need to get back into it, especially now it's the fourth quarter, because now it's every time I go to the suits and blazers first, and then I go to the clothing, and of course a thrift store is full of clothing, and then it's so hard to get to the mugs, the bear, try to look for the pre-Duffy bears, and all that stuff when there's so much clothes, and it's like I can so far I've been never able to steer away from a lot of the clothing items, and I really need to start doing it. And just even though I say to myself I'm not going to go look at clothing items, of course I drag myself at those areas first, and then I'll work my way around it. You know, it gets crazy.
You can have all the clothes you want. You can, that's not my area.
Yeah,
You know?
it's fun though because you get it's like what you do. You learn about a product, and then it's like you kind of master it. So you know exactly what you're looking for, and stuff like that. Now, with with cross stitch and needlepoint, I know they're two different things, but when I first started, I thought they were the same thing. So I was like, I remember you asked me, you're like, is it cross point or needle stitch? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, well, does it look like it has like one piece of thread or multiple crosses? And I'm like, so I sent you the pictures, and like I think we spent all night, and you're like showing me like what to look for.
Yeah.
Now, what exactly do you look for on the cross stitch first, whether it's an open package or in the frames? Because I see a lot of them in the frames, and lately I've been buying them, but a lot of times I pass them up, and they look really old and really nice.
So what I do is the first place I go is for the kits, to see if there's any kits in the store. I have a lot of competition here because a lot of people are buying them, so that's my first place I go in the store. Don't let anybody tell you that open kits do not sell. If you can look in the kit and the kit's been open and you can see the thread, you can see the fabric, you can see the pattern, and it's a reasonable price, don't even question $1 or $2. Just buy them because you're always going to make your money back. Yeah, it may not be a big seller. It may not make you $100, but you're still going to make $12, $15, $20 on most of these kits. There are some kits that I will not even look at for $1 or $2, but that's so rare that it's not even really worth talking about. But then from there, I go to the patterns. I go to the book area because they come in leaflets. They're I don't think I have one here because I'm in my husband's office instead of my office tonight. But yeah, if you leaflets, yeah, Kevin, look at you.
I have a lot of them right here. Are you talking about these, right?
Yeah, well, that's already pre-finished. But if you can find patterns come in leaflet form. Yeah, like this, but they'll be like in an 8.5 by 11 booklet a lot of times. And I go look for those because there's certain brands I always tell people to look for. And those brands are a company called The Prairie Schooler. The Prairie Schooler, what they do is they discontinue their books, so then their patterns can go for a lot of money. But a lot of patterns, if you don't know the patterns, don't get wrapped up in them right away until you start to know which ones are worth money, because you can pay 50 cents or $1 for a lot of these patterns and they're not worth anything. But then there's some that are worth $40 or $50. So that's a whole nother class. Then I go to the needlework area. Now here's one I picked up a few weeks ago. Now this is needlepoint. I think I've probably got it upside down. And the reason why it's needlepoint is you can see right here it's on a mesh. Can you see the mesh, Kevin? The fabric looks like netting. Okay? That is always going to be your needle point because you're doing that design onto that. And the lines go back and forth. They don't cross. Okay, so that is needlepoint. Now it looks like it's all out of shape. It looks like it's not, you're like, what in the world are you going to do with that? This is what it's called. It needs to be blocked. And so it needs to go on a frame, on a stretcher bars, and be framed and blocked. So I don't do a lot with needlepoint. Oh my gosh.
That's right. That's needlepoint, right?
That is needlepoint. And the reason why, awesome, Kevin, the reason why that's needlepoint is because the lines go like this and not like this. And they're all, now that is stamped cross stitch. There's a difference between stamped cross stitch and embroidery. Stamped cross stitch, which you have, is done on a piece of fabric like Kevin's showing, but there'll be X's. It's still a form of embroidery. That looks like it's done on linen. Beautiful piece, usually probably done by Needles and Hoops. There were a company that designed those years and years ago. Stamped cross stitch is the design is printed on the piece of fabric. Now, if it's counted, you guys are going to laugh at me here. Now, remember, I have no loyalty to these teams I'm going to show you. I just grabbed a bin of counted cross-stitch finished pieces.
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. This is a company called Huddles, and they did these designs years ago. If you can see the tiny, tiny little squares, that is called AIDA. Some people call it AIDA, some call it ADA. I just call it A. Beautifully stitched because you want all your stitches to go in the same direction. So when you ask me if I go look at completed needlework, if I see needlework like this and it is not, the top stitches are not going one way and the bottom stitches are going the opposite direction, if they're all over the place, like some are this way and some are that way, I don't buy it. That's just poor workmanship.
Yeah, you want something nice and clean and looks professionally done.
Yeah, now this is, let me grab, I grabbed these really quickly to show you guys. This is done on linen, okay? Now linen is really, 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 really small holes. You can barely see them. Can you see that there? Really, really small, very, very small. I know, and you have to stitch over 2 threads. This is my dream piece to stitch on. I stitch on 40 count linen, which makes it 20 squares per inch, and this piece right here is beautifully, beautifully stitched. I got this in what I call a haul. The lady passed away. I went down to St. George, Utah, and bought home a truckload of stuff. This was one of her pieces, and her family didn't want it. I'll be able to eventually, once I list this, probably in the next week or so, I'll be able to get about $60 for it.
It's gorgeous, though. I mean, look at the craftsmanship on that. It's well made. Look at that thing. Look at the detail on that. That's gorgeous.
It's just beautiful. And I've got a whole bunch from her, a number of them, from flowers. And, we could go into a whole different class. When I was walking in, I spelt coffee on this. Easy to get out. Easy to get out with Dawn dish soap. Has to be Dawn. D-A-W-N. No other brand.
Don't use one, right?
The blue one. And don't use
clothes for wool too.
Yeah, if you can't get the concentrate, just be real careful if you use the concentrate because you'll have suds forever. Now this one's really dated. Who has a pink duck in their house? But someone will still like this because the workmanship is incredible. So now, when you ask, go ahead.
I think somebody will like it also because of that whole Duck Dynasty thing. Because I've noticed when people are starting to collect those duck stuff, the wooden ducks, really anything ducks and stuff like that. It seems like a really, really hot market right now.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll put mallard and I'll put duck, but I'll stay away from the word dynasty in the title and in the description because that is considered keyword spamming. And so you don't want to put anything in that to where they'll come look at your item because you're trying to make it one of their items, because that is infringes on their copyright.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mad Men did too with some of this. Like if you were putting like Mad Men suit, because it's also an error. I guess the copywriters that owns the series Mad Men, the creators or whatever it was, has like a trademark patented or something like that, and went around and everything gets. If you have Mad Men in the title and it's not like their product, they'll pull it.
Yeah, so just be really careful because you get a few of those and you're kicked off eBay, and eBay's only protecting themselves. So, they're being told what to do.
Now, when you are looking for the complete kits that are actually new in packages, because I know I've seen you on Thrift Hunters, and you all of a sudden you pulled out all those gold dimensions that I don't know if that really happened, but I know
It did happen.
Did it really happen?
Yes,
No,
yes.
I
It
was
happens quite a bit for me.
That's gotta be fake.
No, no, no. It was real. It was real. And
Wow.
I do very, very well in the Las Vegas market with flatware. I sell a lot of flatware, and I do really well with needlework. And the reason why you do well in places like Las Vegas, Phoenix, places like that is you've got a large retirement community. People started doing this in the early 80s, and now these people are either too old to do it because it's really hard on the eyes, or and they've had these, or these people are passing away. A lot of people say, well, I'm in Florida. Well, it's a little different in Florida, and the reason why it's a little different is because there's a lot of humidity down there. So a lot of the kits can get damaged from humidity, and people just throw them out a lot of times and don't donate them. So
exactly. That's what I noticed, because when I first started following you, I'm like, where the heck does she get all these kits? I'm seeing like one after another, you coming back from you doing hauls and stuff like that, just kit after kit. I'm like, seriously, it's I'll go to the garage sales, estate sales. I mean, I'll find gorgeous stuff, but I can't find the cross stitch or needlepoint stuff unless they're already in the frames. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? It's hard for me to figure out, and this is why I asked you. It's hard to figure out what I should be looking for if I find something framed or not. Basically, I've been looking at basically what looks old and looks really well done. So I don't know if I have an eye for it or not.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing that you do really want to look for. I don't buy as much needlepoint unless it's florals or what do you call it? Florals or animals. Animals do really well. But I still buy needlepoint. Needlepoint's just not my favorite. Cross stitch with the samplers and old samplers, if you can find those. Samplers are what are called learning tools. People didn't have paper and pencils and stuff, so they would learn their ABCs and their alphabet by stitching the ABCs and stitching the alphabet. I think I have a sampler in this bin.
That'd be
awesome. It's not a true sampler. It's kind of a one-off on a sampler, but I do remember seeing it here earlier today. Yeah, this is just my unlisted stuff. Oh, and this will give me another idea to tell you about. See this is not really, this is a sampler in a sense. See, it's got the wording up there, but a lot of times they would have put, it says, we gather together for the Lord's blessing. It usually would have alphabet and numbers up here. So this is still considered a sampler. Down here, the lady has Bridges 2004. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out really simply. Don't do it unless you're an expert, really, because you can cut the linen underneath, but use a pair of tweezers and the sharpest pair of embroidery scissors you can get. There's some wonderful scissors on the market. We carry them in our eBay store for about $11. I think everybody that's going to get in the needlework business needs to get a pair. They're fine, fine embroidery scissors. What you do is you go under, cut one row, then you can start pulling it out with a needle and tweezers. And the reason why I would take this out is so someone can personalize themselves and hang it in their house or give it as a gift. And I may even do this for my son. My son's getting married next month, and I may finish it for them. Thank you. I may do that for them and get it framed in time for the wedding. That's why, because they're having a fall wedding, perfect time for them, a pretty piece. And so that gives you an idea of, now if you had an old sampler, if it was before the 1970s, or 1980s, leave those names in. That's the value in those. I've got
How would you find though? How would you figure out what's pre-19 or what's really vintage, or in pre-1970s and stuff like that? What would you be looking for?
If they have a date on it, if they have the date, it says 1970 or 1960, leave that in. The reason why I would take the names out is because people like to claim they did it themselves. Funny story, Kevin, I don't know if you heard this story. One of my first negatives on eBay was a lady did not get her handmade piece in time to put it in the state fair. And I wrote her back and said, excuse me, you're putting my piece in the state fair? She goes, yeah, and I didn't get it in time in the time frame. You didn't get it to me fast enough. So I called the Kansas State Fair and said, hey, this lady's been buying a whole bunch of stuff from me that's finished, and I did it. You might want to check on it because, you know, I got that negative. I was a little concerned. And
Yeah.
she had about 16 pieces entered in the fair, and they were all disqualified.
Oh, they
You know?
disqualified. I tell you, you gotta follow up with those negatives, man. I've never gotten, knock on wood, I haven't gotten a negative yet because I answer everybody's questions, and I'm like, even if I don't want to take it back, I have to take it back. I'm like, whatever, it saves me time or whatever.
I haven't had a negative or a neutral in over a year, and I got one each this week. So I got a negative and a neutral, and I looked at it and said, you know what? I did everything I could have for both customers. Their packages were stuck in New York. Both patterns were out of print. I said, I can't get you the pattern, but let me see if I can contact someone to see if anybody I know's got one. One lady left the negative the next day. You didn't get back with me. You didn't give me time. You messaged me on a Saturday and left me the negative on the Sunday, you know. So I did everything I could, and that's just part of being on eBay. I mean, I've got, you know, 26,000 and one negative and one neutral. It's not going to – and it's kind of funny, Kevin, when I get it, people tend to leave feedback a lot faster to bury it. Like, you know, normally it's kind of like, wow, they're messing with Cindy. I'm going to leave feedback, and it gets buried onto the next page.
Yeah, because you have people that are also supporting you too, you know, because we all know, we're all here, like, you know, we're all friends and stuff here. So it's like when somebody sees someone do you wrong, it's like, man, like we got to do something to fix it and make it right. Because I've seen that happen many times where people, like, someone will like scam you. Like someone scammed me for a $95 sport jacket. So I lost the money. I lost the sport jacket because they did a canceled transaction through the credit card 2 months later. So I lost the money. I lost my $95 sport jacket, and I had to pay $25 for to PayPal for what is it called, something with the credit card. So I paid them $20 and lose everything else. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But you know what? There's so few of that I also sell on Amazon and Etsy. I'd closed my Amazon store for quite a while, but because of the Google slapdown, my sales dropped quite a bit on eBay. So I reopened my Amazon store about 2 weeks ago, and still doing merchant fulfilled. I'm not doing FBA, and I'm not a pro merchant. I've had 19 sales in 2 weeks, and you know, as it builds up, I might do it, but it's not the big venue for me. I mean, I've been doing it for years, but not like I do eBay. I mean, eBay's where my money, where my market is for worldwide. You know, I ship worldwide. I have no restrictions. I'll ship to anybody that's got money. You know.
Now I have a neighbor directly next door to me, and he wanted me to do an opportunity with him. This was like maybe a month ago. I never really got back to him. But they do the Christmas stocking kits, and they sell them all year round. They make their own. They do everything themselves. They get all the packaging wholesaled, and they make the kits, you know, like in the packages and stuff. And you know, they need to get $20 out of it. So I was thinking maybe if I sold them for $30 to $40 at a time. But it's like their own name brand because they don't do I think there's a couple other different name brands out there. So I didn't even know how I would market it. I had to do it all eBay. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I never even got back to them. But we're friends, so I talk to them on a daily basis. But it's just like, to me, it seems like it's going to be hard work. If I'm selling maybe, you know, 100 or 200 a month, that'd be awesome. But if I'm here selling maybe 5 to 10 a month, or even, you know, 3, 4, 5 a month, I don't think I'm making a lot of money compared to if I was out even picking stuff thrifting. I mean, am I thinking wrong?
Okay, so here's the philosophy on this, and I look at it a little different. Is he putting the kits together and just giving you the kit? Okay, he wants you to pay $20 for it?
Yeah, and then sell it.
Okay, so here's my philosophy. I would tell him that I have a company right here that I deal with. They're a quilting company, one of the top quilt designers in the nation. She lives 2 blocks from me. So what I do is I list all of her items on eBay, and then I can go pick them up when I sell them. So I don't have to have her stuff in stock. The thing is she's so popular, I do keep all of her items in stock, so I don't have to keep going down to her warehouse, which is about 3 miles away or 4 miles away. But depending on how many items he has, if he has, say he has 10 styles of stockings, 10 different ones. I don't know how many he has. Say he has 10.
Only a few. I would say like
Okay.
5.
Are they needlework? Are they cross stitch?
They're oh man, he gave me pictures. I don't have them here. I think I'm pretty sure they're cross stitch. No, not cross stitch, needlepoint.
Okay. So what you would do is if you would, I would just tell him that you will list them, and as they sell, you will buy them from him. Is how my philosophy is. And the thing is he could go do it himself, but why don't you make 20 bucks on it? 10, 15. They're easy to ship. They ship for, they pop in a manila envelope, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 ounces. They would go first class. Today I did 35 packages, and I did them in under 25 minutes because they just, I use stamps.com, and so I wish I had a mobile camera and I'd show you guys where all my kits are stored. And we can do that on another one sometime.
Yeah,
I can do a video.
Definitely, because I definitely think we should do a few videos of like just some sort of learning. Because this is for me. The Mondays I usually just do like the live hangouts, but I think we should do a couple private ones, so that way I can always go back and do like a cut and then just get all the good stuff. You know what I mean? Like a good stuff in it and stuff.
Absolutely. I'm available to teach about needlework anytime. That's my specialty. I started my first store in '82, which was hard to believe, and still doing.
45, so that tells you how long you've been in the business.
So but yeah, anytime you guys want, any help or anything on that, I'm available.
Now let's get a couple questions in, because we're flooded with a bunch of questions over here, and then we'll hit on some Afghan talk.
Okay, because I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing questions, so I'm going to let you ask them, Kevin.
Awesome. Because you used to do Spreecast. I used to watch a Spreecast.
Yeah.
This is a lot different because this actually you don't have to upload it onto YouTube. It's just straight up on YouTube. As we speak, we get the questions in. I got a question from Alex Pickham, Las Vegas. He's from Las Vegas, so. Cindy, you ever hit the Goodwill outlets here in Vegas?
Okay, I do hit the Goodwill outlets in Vegas. Are you talking the ones that are by the pound or the stores? In Vegas, my preferred stores are Savers and the 1DI. The 1DI, Desert Industries. I haven't done really well there, but the pound stores kind of freak me out. If I don't have my gloves and my face mask and all that, I'm not ready for it. I've done the pound stores a number of times in Seattle, Las Vegas, and in Reno, but they're not my favorite.
See, I'm totally the same way. Like when I go to the pound stores, I don't find much.
Yeah.
But my friend Wesley, I don't know if he's watching right now, but he has been just hitting the pound stores the last month and a half, and he says he's doing really, really well. And it's really good to hear because he was having a little bit of trouble back there, and he's like, man, ever since he started talking to me again, he started hitting doing the thrifting and stuff, and he's doing really well. And actually, Pick in Las Vegas is the same way. He moved and he does it full time. He moved from I believe it was Massachusetts or New York. I'm sure he'll write it in here, but now he does it full time in Las Vegas, and he's doing awesome too. And he does a lot of the electronics, Guitar Hero, stuff like that, and assortments of things.
See, that type of stuff is great in the pound store, and the reason why electronics is great in the pound store is it comes in, they look at it and go, wow, we don't know if this is all here. Let's put it in the pound store. Me, I don't even go to electronics. I don't know anything about electronics to resell. So I do recommend people that are into clothing, that are into electronics, they try the pound store. For me, you don't see that much needlework. A lot of times when you see coffee cups, which I do really, really well on, when you see coffee cups and stuff like that, they're usually chipped because they've just been thrown in. Here's a coffee cup I think you guys will get a kick out of. I just bought this today. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and it leans. So when it sits, it leans.
Oh, wow, that's cool looking.
And I got it today for 50 cents. So I just thought it was really cool, but my son, the problem is when I bring it home, someone wants it.
Yeah.
So I have to get it up on the list. But I also got a fake Starbucks cup, so be careful. They are out there. So,
oh, wow, yeah, definitely Sri Lanka Starbucks.
Yeah, and so there's no mark on the bottom,
Yeah.
and and so one thing that you'll really want to be careful about. The reason why I bought it is I told them that it was fake, and they ended up actually giving it to me.
Yeah.
But I bought this for a lesson to show people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a big
so
lesson too. But you can really tell a difference with a Starbucks mug, like a real Starbucks mug, by the weight and the width and the height and stuff like that. But from it, is that
this is
Starbucks?
yeah, this is a fun one because it's got the I use this one in my Volkswagen. I drive Volkswagen Beetles, so this one was a purchase for me. So, but yeah, but yeah, if he electronics is perfect for the pound stores.
Yeah. And let's see, Sim Zaki, which is a moderator in my group, he says, what is your most selling items, your bread and butter?
My bread and butter is needlework.
Yep.
Now, I will tell you, most of my store is needlework supplies. Now, a lot of people say, well, how do you find all that stuff where you're thrifting? 75% of my store is wholesale. And the reason why I have the wholesale market is because I had needlework stores. I established those businesses years and years and years ago, kept those wholesale businesses, and when I ended up closing, a lot of businesses will say, oh, well, I'm not going to sell to anybody that sells on eBay. And I assure them that I sell at full retail. And I lost one designer, which I didn't care for her that much anyway, but she goes, I don't want my stuff on eBay. They think of it as a garage sale. So I called one of my other top designers and I said, hey, Alan, why do you think Nan is doing this? And he goes, Cindy, you're our #2 store in the world. So, so we're not going to tell you, no, you can't sell on eBay. If you buy our stuff, you can sell it on the street corner if you want. So when I see the other designer stuff, even at thrift stores, a lot of time I don't buy it only because of her attitude. Why should I promote it? But yeah, but most of my stuff is. Now, another thing to keep in mind, you're going to have a lot of sellers out there that say, well, I'm not going to sell anything if I'm not going to make $20 or $30 per item. Now remember, I can get 36 patterns in. 36 patterns, one design, might only sell for $11 or $12, but I can sell 10 of those a day, popping them in an envelope, and I've just sold all 36 of them in a week and reorder more. So I have a little different philosophy.
See, with me, I'm different. When I'm doing clothing, I have so much inventory here that I've got to the point where if I'm not making 50 or over, I won't touch it because I have so much inventory with it here. But if it comes a cross stitch and like the stuff that right here that I found in the frames, and it's for $1 or $2, I'll pick those things up all day long. Exactly what you said. They're easy. Number one, they're easy to store. Number two, they're cheap. They're cheap and easy to ship. And you can put free shipping on those things all day long because there's like next to no weight on them.
Exactly. I do free shipping on all my needlework kits and everything because I've rarely had to ship one that's over 14 ounces. That's usually a needlepoint kit. But so I have a different philosophy. So yeah, if you're going to be buying wholesale and you're going to be buying a whole bunch of stuff, the other day I was saying to my admins in cost, I was telling them, I said, hey guys, I'm going to be out for a little while because I just got a huge order in and I've got to get these into the inventory. And so what I do is I just go in and revise my listings and add them to the inventory. So it's pretty cool.
Now I wish people could see your inventory you have because I know you always talk about how like you have so much stuff in your what is it, you have a barn in the back, right?
Yeah, I have a 18 by 40 foot warehouse in the back. It's like a
huge. Anytime you're ready, you're like, maybe I'll do this week, whether it's flatware, I'll just go in there and I'll grab one of those containers, take it out and list a bunch of it. It's like you have so much of it because you've built it up over the years and you're able to do that.
Well, and the other thing, too, that you've got to keep in mind is I also buy out a lot, so I get much better prices. Mm-hmm. So a few months ago, I drove down to St. George, Utah, and picked up a woman had passed away, and she was a hoarder, and I picked up, for $8,000, I picked up stuff that'll probably make $50,000 or $60,000 on. And so, but I have to have the room to store it. People say, well, don't. You're going to have different people. Different people say, don't sell something that's $8 that you're going to make $8 profit on, because that's a waste of time. Well, it's not a waste of time for me because I can list 50 of that same item. Clothing's a little different. If you've got one up, it's going to completely change. So the other thing is to keep in mind is that when I list, I do everything 100% mobile. I use my iPhone. My iPhone is used for everything. from answering messages to listing and everything. So I will go and pick up flatware, list a whole night of flatware. Then I don't get bored. Then the next night I might go get rubber stamps and list a whole night of rubber stamps. Then I'm not having to change categories. I'm not having to change shipping on most of them because they're all the same weight. And so I can list, the other night I listed a whole bunch of cross-stitch patterns, one designer, and I listed 48, and I had them done in less than an hour.
Wow. See, now, are they the same exact design, so you can basically do, like, you have, like, 48 available, or...
No, it was 48 separate listings. I just had to change the title, the pictures, and the item specifics. And you know, in the description, the title. It was, what it basically was is it was the same company, different title. What they were is they were Beatrix Potter cross-stitch books. So I had the Tale of Pigling Bland, the Story of Miss Moppet, Story of Peter Rabbit. So they were cross-stitch books. So I would just go in and change each one, the title, the pictures, and it's so easy. So I had them all done in less than an hour.
Now, the ones that you picked up with the Thrift Hunters, they were the dimensions, the gold dimensions, correct? And those go for, like, ridiculous money.
Okay, but not all of them. Not all of them. So don't get in the thing going, oh my gosh, there's a lady down the street and she's got 50 gold dimensions kits and she wants $300. Well, some gold dimensions, because I always like to say that dimensions hoard themselves out. Their kits used to be marvelous because they were all made in the U.S. They used quality fabric. Well, they switched and moved to China a number of years ago, and the company just went really downhill. And a lot of the designers that they used up until a few years ago, when they were still doing them in the United States, they weren't as popular. And the reason why these are so popular is because they've retired them. The patterns were never made into leaflets. So these were kits only. But yeah, there are some gold dimensions kits that I've made $400 on. But there's also some gold dimension kits that I've only sold for 10 or 15. So you've got to play it out. And one way to look is go look in my store at www.bubbacandance.com. Search highest to lowest, and you can see where some of the prices are.
Yeah, because I remember there was a time where you showed like your last 5 recent sales, and it was an overnight. And I mean, you had the gold dimensions where you had 2 of them that were over $300, and I think the rest were over $200. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. But yet I've yet to find one of those gold dimensions, even the ones that are worth $10. Like, I'll find the dimensions and stuff, but it's not the gold ones. So like, what would be your top three Bolo brands to look for
kits? For counted cross stitch, the top kits for me are any European design, like it's called Lanarte, Lanarte. Any design that's got a European name to it, Perman of Copenhagen, Lanarte, Rico, those kits always do well because they're not usually found in the United States. Gold dimensions, I still buy those like crazy. And probably the third one that I do extremely, extremely well with and tends to be one of my biggest sellers, even over dimensions, is anything that you can find that is, they're usually, so what they usually are is they're not put together by a company, but they're put together by the designers, and those would be by Prairie Schooler, Mary Cox, or C.A. Wells. And the reason why the C.A. Wells and the Mary Cox, M-E-R-R-Y, is because these were classes only. So these are really hard. They've taught them at embroiders guilds and cross-stitch conventions.
That's what they do at the art schools, where they're only made a certain amount.
Exactly.
So they're like limited edition ones, and they're worth a lot of money because they were hand taught to make them.
Yeah, and I do really well with those. And so any of those type of kits that look like they're, you look at it and you go, wow, it's a sampler. It looks like it's homemade. It's in an 8 and 9 by 12 bag, and it's got thread in it, and it's not sealed. It's just a Ziploc. Those can still be big money. Big money.
And now let's take a few more questions. I have a bunch over here. Like, I'm just seriously, I'm sitting here because I know you personally, and it's like I love listening to you because I know after I'm done with you, like after the other hangout, tomorrow I'll probably go through this video again and just write down a bunch of stuff that we're talking about. This is how it is every time I talk to you. So it's like I love learning from you. Let's see. Do you feel free shipping really gives you a boost in search results?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so funny because we all know that free shipping is not free because we build that in. I'm still shocked how many people will come in my shop and buy multiple items, and so they've paid shipping on every single one of those items in addition to that. So sometimes I have a bin of free stuff, like a free pattern that's gotten damaged or floss or pieces of fabric that I'll throw in, and their feedback is always, thanks for the free shipping, thanks for the free shipping.
Yeah.
But I do really, really do believe that it has helped me in search and in sales.
Okay. Because my sales this month have kind of been off, a little off and on, off and on. It's just, I don't know if it's because they had that the Google search rankings is killing everybody, and because that whole glitch and everything that's going on. It's hard to figure out what's going on with eBay right now, really, because they have so much stuff going on right now. Almost it seems like once a week there's like some sort of like hack or something, and it's like it kills my sales. Like whenever somebody mentions a hack, it kills my sales.
Yeah, and I think from all of it, between the security breach and everything, I think the biggest thing that hurt me was the Google slapdown. And the reason why is I get a lot of zero feedback buyers, and so that's one thing you want to make sure that you do not have marked, is that you will not sell to zero feedback buyers. And let me tell you why. Someone goes in looking for an item, they go into Google, they look for it, it shows up, it takes them to eBay, it takes them to your store, they have to set up an eBay account, or they can buy as a guest, they can pay as a guest. They are a zero feedback buyer that had never thought of going to eBay, but they found you on Google. Stopped for me in May, picked back up last month. In the last week, I've had 7 zero feedback buyers, and
Wow.
and that was huge for me, where I lost all of that in May, June, July, and August.
Yeah, I noticed that if I'm not selling a lot, I won't get a lot of feedback. But when I'm selling constantly, the feedback comes in like maybe multiple times during the day.
Yeah.
Which I find real strange. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they have computers or people behind computers that just sit there and buy, and then they either leave feedback or don't leave feedback. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what else. Question: if you come across an older sampler, say from the 1840s, but significant damage, almost 30%, would it be worth it to grab it? ABC sampler?
Depends on how much it is. And if there's a lot of damage with the linen that it's on or the fabric that it's on, and you see a lot of moth damage, I buy them only because I collect them, but and I can do some repairs on them. But I mean, if it's not really expensive, if it's under $10 or so, yes, absolutely buy it.
Okay. Here's another great question from Sam Zaki. How you store your items and how do you store your items and be able to track where they are? Kind of like a maybe an inventory list at your in your warehouse.
Okay, so what I do is all of my patterns are stored in great big bins in alphabetical order by the title they're listed on eBay. I print off the invoices, and when I print off the invoices, I send an invoice to every customer that buys from me. That invoice, I look at the title name of what the title of the pattern is. That will be where it's at in my 19 bins. So I have 19 bins on great big tables. Those are all the patterns. All the kits are stored by designer name, by company name, in the same type of bin. So it'll say Dimensions Stockings, Dimensions Christmas, Dimensions Non-Christmas. I just go in and pull them out.
That way, super easy to figure out for you.
Yeah, I don't do, and the reason why is I'm on mobile, and so I print off all my invoices. It doesn't have that custom label form. I don't have to go bin 1, bin 6, bin 12. I can just go in and I can pull, and so I can look at my invoices that day. Like today, I had 35. I put them in alphabetical order, and so I put them in alphabetical order and just went down all the bins and pulled all the stuff by title.
Talk Thrifty to Me says, wow, Cindy really knows her stuff. Yes, she does.
I've been around a long time.
Yeah. We already just, Harold Romitz said, Cindy, do the needlepoint items have to be stretched before putting them up for sale, or does it matter?
No, it does not matter. And a lot of people like to block their items, so that needlepoint, the needlepoint that we had that's really out of shape, that needs blocked, what you would say is you would say in your listing, needs blocking. See, because it's all skitty-wampus. Don't let this turn you away. This is easy to block, but do not block it yourself. Let a professional do it, and see how it's all strange. You're going to find that you're going to find that on Needlepoint. Don't let that turn you away. This is very common for Needlepoint. And they stretch it on stretcher bars, but just say in your description, needs blocking. Because someone might make this a chair cover, someone may make this a pillow, it'll be blocked differently.
See, I've seen them like that out of the frames, and I just don't buy them because I just think that it's not worth money. See, so I've been missing out too.
Okay, and the other thing is I've been hearing this a lot lately in my cost group. And for those that are listening, my cost group is very limited. We handpick everybody. If you're interested, PM me on Facebook for Cindy Sorley. Find me. We're a closed group, but we're not a secret group. It's Cindy's Online Selling Tips. If you're really, really interested in joining, we will add you, but we are very select on who we bring in. And we're not being snobby or anything. We just are really trying to help seasoned sellers become better sellers and new sellers become better sellers. So we really work on that.
And again, you can do what I did. At first, I was scared to ask you because I know you're so busy with everything that's going on with your life and stuff like that. And I mean, I know about what's going on and stuff, but you're so busy. But yet you still take the time to help everybody. Like you helped me a lot, and it really changed. It really changed how I look at certain items because before I didn't I don't know anything about this stuff. I don't know anybody about anything. And then you took me aside and you spent hours with me. And it was it was awesome because I'm like, wow, here she is. She's so busy, and she can take time out and help me.
Wow. That's what I love. I love being able to help people. And what I was going to say, what I've been hearing a lot in my cost group is people say, well, I took it out of the frame because it's easier to ship. I'm like, no, don't take it out of the frame because sometimes the whole framing, the whole thing is going to make you a lot more money, and people are willing to pay to have a lot of the cross stitch framed the way it is. I had a lady the other day take one out that was triple matte and professionally framed. That was $400 to frame that, and she took it out because she was I know, I was like, no. So if the frame's all dinged up and a really cheap frame, yeah, but don't take it out unless you ask me. PM me.
Yeah, I already have people over here lining up to join your group. So, yeah. But honestly, you definitely got to get a hold of Cindy before because she has a bunch of people. Because you've been around, you've been around before Thrifting the Boys, and it's so you've kept consistently at just under or around 900 and above. So or is it 700?
We're between 700 and 800.
Yeah,
and so we turn away about 70 a day.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you really got to message her and say, hey, I'm really interested in what you do. And because it all makes sense if she believes that you're going to go out there and learn, she'll add you because if she feels like you're not trying, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything.
I know that. Yeah.
Exactly how it should be because you just want to keep it so you can get all the content and everybody can really have a lot of help because I'm always in the group too, still writing and stuff like that. And you've even asked me to do stuff for you too with the clothing and stuff, with the suits. But also I want to touch on you've become really good friends with somebody when I grew up. They used to have that. What was that song? That big song that they had. It's from Coolio. You met him in Vegas when you had your costume convention. And you became pretty good friends. You actually met him on the airplane.
I met him on the airplane coming home, and I had no idea who he was. And I was in his seat. I thought I had the window seat. And he goes, no, you got my seat. So we started talking. I moved to the center. We had a delay, so I got to spend some time with him. And at the time, my husband had just had open heart surgery a month before, and my little 12-year-old's going through some major medical problems with a paralyzed hand. And so I was talking to Coolio. After it all, Coolio came out to the car to meet my husband and my little boy, and I ended up going to his concert that night, dinner. We've been in touch, and he has now opened up we're opening up his eBay store called Coolio's Closet, and we'll be selling all of his stuff. But cute story is I had no idea who he was, and I didn't want to look like an idiot, and I said, oh, where are you headed? And he said, I'm headed to Salt Lake, and I said, you live there? And he goes, no, I live in Vegas. I said, oh, what are you going to do in Salt Lake? He goes, well, I'm going to work. And I'm going, okay. I go, so what do you do? And he goes, well, I'm a singer. And I go, that's cool. And he goes, what do you do? And I said, well, I sell on eBay. And he goes, eBay, I've been wanting to sell some of my old tour stuff. And I go, well, let's look and see what it's selling for. So I have my phone, and I go, spell your name for me, because I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Coolio. So I typed in Coolio, and we see that his shirts are selling for $200, and little boombox coolers that are boombox, little beer coolers and stuff are going for $85, and he's like, that's my stuff. He was just freaking out. He just thought it was the coolest thing. And so that he invited me to dinner and then to his concert and everything, and I went. He sings Gangsta's Paradise.
Yep.
And
Gangsta's
Paradise. Slip slide, slippity slide, yeah, I don't know, all that stuff. And he was, but anyway, he's one of the nicest people I've really encountered. Really genuine, really real. And loves the idea of making the money, selling his stuff. He still doesn't get that his stuff sells for that much, but he's really, really a decent person. And it's funny because my hobby away from eBay, my relaxing hobby, is genealogy. So I've done his genealogy for him. He loves that. I know more about him than he does, but he's really, really cool. And on the airplane going home on Sunday, he had on my Cindy's Online Selling Tips t-shirt.
And he took it. Actually, I have the picture right. I have the picture right down here because I saved this to my computer a few days ago. I'll do a. Let me do a quick screenshot real quick because I can do it.
That's pretty funny.
Right. I bet you don't even know that I have this.
I had no clue. No clue.
Go. Let me know. Oh. Yeah. You got it?
That's it. That's it.
Coolio. And that's the one where he's wearing the Cindy Online Sellers Team shirt. That's awesome. That's really cool that he's actually honestly when you posted that, I couldn't believe it. And then when you started writing about the other stuff that you've done, and he's a really nice guy. I know you guys hung out quite a few days. I'm like, wow, that's really cool for somebody that has the time that could just take the time out and do that. Because I remember back in the early '90s, everybody loved Coolio. He did the Dangerous Minds, which was Gangster's Paradise, and he had a few of the hit singles. But man, everything was Coolio. I mean, I had his CDs. I remember driving on the bus when I was in middle school, listening to his CDs, and the bus driver. Oh
and that's
man!
So funny because I had no idea who he was. I didn't know anything about him, and what's really funny about the whole thing is I think he enjoyed that because I go, well, at that time that you were pretty famous, I was working for the country music industry because I used to work for the country group Shenandoah, and so that was kind of cool, and I think he kind of liked that. But he one of my cost members, Susan Laxander, sent me 2 of his Coolio CDs last week or a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm getting to know all of his music. So
he's pretty. I'm telling you, he's pretty good. There's a lot of people that are old school I mean, I don't like new school rap. I just think it's not the same as it used to be with the old school. So I just can't listen to the new stuff now. I tend to listen to my playlist is dubstep, techno, house music, and then mostly the time when I'm doing my listings, I pop on my WEI sports talk radio from Boston. I listen to that thing all day long. So it's
I'm country music the whole way. Zach Brown, Shenandoah, the old '80s stuff. That's all I listen to. Now I have added Coolio to my station.
Zach Brown's local to me, and my buddy and we did his grandmother's pool. We redid his pool because that's what about a year and a half ago when I was out of a job. That's what I was doing was resurfacing pools with my buddy, and we resurfaced his grandma's house. And he wasn't there at the time, but his grandma was They were really nice people.
Oh, he's awesome.
A big house. It was like a mansion. But let's get back to let's talk about Afghans. I see Michael Baumberger's in here, and he showed me last night 2 gorgeous king size, really cool colored king size blankets that he's trying to list. He has one listed for $200. I think that he's going to list one for around that price also, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So let's talk about Afghans, because as you can see behind me, I'm a huge Afghan too, and ever since I was going to sell that right there, but it has a few little things wrong with it. So ever since I've kept it there, I actually snuggle with it every night when I'm sitting there watching Law and Order SVU. I'll sit there and even though I live in Florida and we have the central air on all day long, and whenever it gets cool enough in here, I grab that thing and I'll fall asleep with it. I love it.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'm very happy to help Michael if he wants to post it in Thrifting Lounge. I'll go ahead and help him with that, on his pricing, his titles, and everything. But let me give you an idea. Granny Square Afghans, usually crocheted. This is one I picked up last week. This is one I would normally not pick up because it's a scrap. It's called scrap, S-C-R-A-P. The reason why it's a scrap Afghan is they used all their scrap materials. They left all the yarn that was sitting in the bin, Grandma probably picked up, and she made it in all different colors. But the reason why I bought it was two reasons. It's kind of unique. Usually the black background does a lot better. And the other reason why I bought this is a king-size bed, and they went to the effort to make the whole edging with the mini granny squares on the edge. So this has got some really fine workmanship in it. Weird colors, but I'm telling you what, everybody I've showed this to is going, oh, when are you going to list that thing? But I have to go in and do a few little repairs. Some of the edges are coming apart. I use those. I use a needle and just kind of work them in and fix them. Easy to do. One thing is this is acrylic, and I can feel occasionally that they've used some wool somewhere. Earlier I was feeling and I could tell that it was wool. So if you don't know if it's wool or acrylic, here's some damage right here. I've got to fix this. See, it's coming undone. I'll be able to fix that. Nice thing about scrap quilts is I have a lot of scrap Afghans. I have yarn sitting around, so I can go in and fix that. Nobody will even know that I didn't use a different one. How to tell? Get a piece of the thread. If it burns and it smells like hair, if it smells like plastic, it's going to be acrylic. Okay. So if you burn a part of it and it smells like plastic, it's going to be, and wool will smell like you're burning hair. Now I don't know if we all know what hair burning smells like because I've never, attempted to burn my hair.
I'll tell you right now, quite a few times I like to, when I sit there, I'll sit there, I'll have a cigar. People can think I'm really strange if you already don't think I'm strange enough. And I'll grab the lighter and I'll just light my stomach hair.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but no, I know what it smells like. But let's let everybody know too that you don't grab a piece that's on it and then light it, because what's gonna happen is it's gonna burn. It's gonna burn your whole blanket. So you want to take like a piece, like she said.
Exactly. Or what you can do is you can take a piece of the thread, get it wet, try to pull it apart. If it molds back together, if it goes back together, it's going to be wool because wetness brings it together. So like if you look at sheep and they get wet, their hair all bunches together. That's like what wool does. So it's like puts it together. And I'll post that in Thrifting. Thrifting Lounge. I'll give you a lesson on the burn test for acrylic versus wool. Now, I'll once I repair this and get this fixed, I'll list this thing for almost $200, and I'll probably get it. And I paid $2 for it.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody, I think I did an interview with eBay Scavengers, one of my first interviews, and I said that I was talking about Afghans. That next day, a lot of people went out and bought Afghans because I said you can buy them next to nothing. Turn around and flip them for 40 and up easily.
Yeah, they're a big market, and the reason why they're such a big market now is because people had them when they were kids. Their grandmothers made them. Their memories. And so what we want to do is we want to hit at the heartstrings of these people that now have money. The 30, 40, 50-year-olds are remembering these things. I sell a ton of Hallmark ornaments. And people say, I would never buy a baby's first birth, 1987. Well, I'm telling you, I bought a whole bunch of them because the reason why is my son was born in 1987. He's getting married next month. He wants all of our Christmas ornaments from his first, second, third, fourth, fifth birthday. He's not getting them, but he's getting them as a wedding gift because I bought them on eBay for practically nothing.
That's awesome. He'll love that too.
Yeah, but that's something to keep in mind. We want to get to these heartstrings, and that's what's happening to these people. Their memories. So
it's like my greatest memory is my dad. We used to take walks and walk my dog to the pits, and so she could go to the bathroom. But he used to have this, the vintage Levi's, 1980s, vintage Levi's jacket, the denim jacket. And I can't help myself. Every time I see them, I grab them, and I always think about those days because that's one of the best memories I have with my my parents and stuff like that. So And every time I buy them, I never get anything less than $40 from them, and they go like that. They go so quick. So it's like stuff like that that you can hang on to, that people actually do collect them, and I didn't even know that when I first bought them.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll tell you, there's the new movie Fury came out last week with Brad Pitt, and it's about the Tiger tanks in Germany. Now all the tank commander jackets are going to be the biggest thing selling. People are going to be buying those like crazy because they're very unique from other brands. There's going to be a lot of designers making them. There's going to be the old vintage ones. Look at trailers from the movie and get a look at those jackets because I think they're going to be huge.
Yeah, I definitely, because I love any Brad Pitt movie, and I think there's a few of the stars that I'm huge fans of that are in that movie also. I think Shia LaBeouf is in that too. And but I'm definitely waiting for that to come out because I want to watch that so bad.
Yeah.
Anything with Brad Pitt's going to be good. But I had a couple good comments here. Glenn Buckingham's the one that told me also. He met someone coming out of Goodwill going in to get Afghans, and they both watched my video the night before.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And here's a really good question. Camillus Deal wrote, Afghans, do certain sizes sell better than others? Because I know some baby Afghans sell pretty well too.
Most of my baby Afghans, I will buy any soft baby Afghan. It doesn't have to be a granny square. It can be knit. You just don't want a lot of peeling on it, you know, where the yarn has got the fiber coming off of it because it's been washed too many times. Almost every single one of my baby Afghans goes to Australia. Okay. I don't know. I don't understand why, but baby Afghans do really, really well. They go to Australia. Certain ones do better, but I tend to do much better with twin. And the reason why is people have guest rooms or kids going to college. They usually have twin. They're heavy. Once they get to a queen size, they're a heavy blanket. But if I can find an Afghan that's got a really neat design, chevron, zigzag, granny squares, I buy them if they're under $5.
Mm-hmm. I know. I said to my girlfriend, I said, I don't care what you think. The next time I get I find a king size Afghan, I'm just keeping it.
Yeah.
I love them. They feel awesome, and they're really nice and soft. They're not really as heavy as I thought they would be.
Yeah, I bought a camouflage one the other day that was just a plain camouflage pattern. It didn't get out of the car. My little 12-year-old found it. So he goes, Mom, do you really want to sell this? And I said, no, I had you in mind. I didn't, but, you know. So
yeah,
nothing's tacked down here. You know, if the price is right, it's going. Except for my McSorley sign that I bought on eBay. You know, with my last name.
I thought you bought that too. I saw that a few days ago. You posted that.
Yeah, I bought that on eBay, and that's a lesson in itself. My husband's name is James McDonald Sorley. He goes by Max Sorley to all of his family. So we collect McSorley's beer stuff. And I found this on eBay for $100 with free shipping. And I was so excited. I was just so excited. Well, a week later, I bought a book at a thrift store for $1, and I sold it for $101. So I always joke that my cross-stitch book paid for that. And so I was talking to my Catholic priest, and I said, Father, I felt so badly. I paid $1. Someone paid $101 for it. I felt so badly. And he goes, Cindy, how much did you pay for that sign? I said, $100. And he goes, how do you know they didn't pay $1 for it? I was like, okay, that put it into perspective for me. You know, that I didn't hold a gun to their head saying, buy this book for $100, you know?
Yeah, I know a lot of people in here aren't religious. I recently converted to Reborn Again Christian about a couple months ago. I did the whole water thing because my sister, you know, at first I'm like, oh, I'll never be churchgoer. And then I found my way in there. And but ever since I started eBay, it was like my girlfriend went to my sister, and she said to her, she goes, you know, Kevin has this eBay thing he wants to try. He hasn't tried it yet. And my sister's like, you know what? Let him do it. Let him see how he does. And the first time I found something, it was someone called me and like, hey, we don't need all this high-end buckle fashion stuff like that, salvage, some sort of like MMA stuff people used to wear, a lot of stuff wear. And I made $700 to $1,000 off of that stuff, and it sold within a matter of months. That's how I started. And then I learned from you guys and stuff like that. It was like, to me, I felt like I'm a very superstitious person, so if something's working, I'm not going to stop it, you know. So I just keep going back to church, I guess, but it's really changed my life for the good. I try to think positive. I focus on everything positive.
That's where I am. My glass is always full. You know, my glasses.
Exactly. No,
I mean, I am busy, but I am there to help people, and that's what, if I can't get to you right away, a lot of times in Thrifting Lounge, a lot of people think I'm very, what's the word? Brusque. I've been called all kinds of things. You have to remember that a lot of times when I'm answering your question, I'm giving you the straight answer because I'm either driving, I'm parked at a light, I'm in doctor's appointments or something, and I see it. I just go $39.99 keywords. I'm not going to sit there and have a conversation with you. I'm trying to help you, and so don't think that I'm abrupt because I'm not. I think I was called a know-it-all the other night about something, and the thing is I don't consider myself that, but if I know something, I'm going to help you guys, but it may not be all sugar-coated. It's going to be quick, and it's going to be, let me move on to the next thing.
And I think a lot of it too is a lot of people already know that you used to be, or you are, I won't say anything, but friends with a certain group, so they're already coming thinking, oh, this girl thinks, this, and it's nothing like that, because if I can vouch for you because I know you personally, then I know exactly who you are and how you are and stuff like that. And that's the one thing everyone's like, even if people are giving you slack, I'll let them know. Even you'll even see me right. I'm like, hey, you need to back off because it's not how she's trying to come off. It's she's trying to she's so busy. There's so much that goes through your Facebook feed that I can only imagine. And I run a full-time group of we just hit 5,000 members, but if people tag me, it's so hard to go back and try to help somebody, and it's super hard because at first I was able to answer everybody's questions, but now it's gotten to the point where it's like, dude, I have 8 admins in the group. You can't just keep asking me for everything, which I don't mind if you have questions and stuff. I prefer asking me private message. That way I can see it, and I'm not looking like a jerk for not answering it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think with your group and with my group, my admins are amazing. I mean, I've got B and Chris and B, Carol and David, Stephanie, Debbie. I mean, I've been so lucky having that. But a lot of times I'll get people that'll message me and I'll say, hey, this is a great lesson for me to not just teach you in PM. Let's post it into costs so that I can teach everybody, because instead of me telling just you, let's go ahead and post it, and that's been really, really good. But I've got a lot of wonderful, wonderful people in there that are willing to help. We've got experts in sewing patterns, we've got experts in in teddy bears, and everybody's so willing to help, and that's why this whole community, we want to become better sellers.
And one thing I do want to say, and it kind of goes for my group also, I feel like, because I've seen a lot of times you write, please, I had to let go of a few people because they'll take your information that you've helped people with, and like your files, and I want everybody to know your files, and they'll put it in other groups or they'll spread it around, and that's really not what you're about, and I'm not about that either, because we all work hard to keep it within the group. So if you're trying to give it to different groups, it defeats the purpose of us trying to help you. I mean, am I correct, Cindy?
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because there's a lot of groups that charge. They charge monthly fees. I do not charge. I do this all for free. I could be selling, instead of selling 500 items a month, I could be selling 1,000 items a month, but I spend so much time helping my group and helping helping the members in my group that I, spend so much time there that when I could be listing or selling. Or we have a lady, Marcia Glenn, that writes every Sunday. She writes a Sunday musing. I love Marcia. She writes her Sunday musings, and she writes, and she's amazing, and she writes these musings, and then to find them posted somewhere else outside of my group, that she spent time in to share with our group, and then also for someone to take credit on something that that I wrote, and take credit and charge for it. Oh, here's my new post on needlework. Now that'll be $50 for you to go buy the ebook on that, when they don't know a thing about it, but they got all their information from me. So yeah, it's a little upsetting to me when I don't charge. And yeah, someday I may write a book on listing on mobile and charge a few dollars, but but yeah, I'm asking, please don't, we have a lot of eBay employees in our group. We don't like them to be called out, but they are there to help if they can. They've been wonderful. And that's what kind of makes our group a little more unique than others, because they are watching, they are listening. But so we don't want you to come in there and just bash eBay. If you don't like eBay, my philosophy is, if you don't like it, we all have rules. You know, I look at it as a franchise. You know, I used to look at it of I was the renter and they were my landlord, but now I'm a franchise. Franchises have rules to follow. They set the rules, you follow them. If you don't like it, get out of the franchise. Move on, go somewhere else. You know, people, you know, yeah, and so eBay pays my bills. eBay pays my husband lost his job as an airline pilot over a botched heart surgery 3 years ago, and I'm the breadwinner. And I tell you what, it's eBay changed my life.
I'm the same way. Like I said, I think how I started is I was, you know, I wanted to try this, and I mean, it was so bad. Me and Nikki were so broke. Like we were never broke as much as it was over a year and a half, about a year and a couple months before that. I want to say like maybe 14 months ago, and we were driving on the road, and my girlfriend's crying. She's like, I really don't know how we're gonna make to pay the layaway off at Walmart for the kids for Christmas. And to me, it was like, dude, you know, we really need to figure something out. We really got to figure something that isn't a quick, you know, quick get rich scheme, you know. So I started watching joining the other groups. I started watching a few TV shows. I think one was Toy Hunters, and I saw he was really into like vintage, you know, 1980s toys, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys. And I started from there watching the research and the eBay stuff. And I'm like, wow, where have I been my whole life doing all this? I've been in sales since I was 18, and I've never known about this stuff. I knew about buying on eBay because that's what all I used to do when I was younger. But honestly, since we did that, since I started doing that, it's changed my life like that because I put the effort and the time and energy into doing it. And it's been nothing but awesome for me. And, you know, I don't consider myself a big seller, but it pays the bills and some, you know, so it does help. And, you know, we all have goals. I have a goal of next year. I want to have my own boutique section downtown Melbourne and, you know, do everything out of there with eBay and selling stuff there. So, I mean, it's crazy to think how far I've come from a year, just like I'm sure you look back and when you had your struggles to where you're at now, and it's like really a relief.
Yeah, and I think the thing is let's talk before you open up that brick and mortar type boutique because I've been there, done that. But, you know, that's a whole different thing. There's nothing like, as I was sitting here talking to you in this last hour, I've sold 9 items. And, you know, it's awesome. I mean, I had the cha-ching off, but I keep going, another sell, another sell, another sell.
You should have kept on.
I know, that would have been great, but then I would have, yeah, it's just kind of cool. But one thing to keep in mind is you are your boss, but you have some rules to follow that eBay has done. And so people ask me about the defects. They ask me about, you know, the rules. You know what? If, you know, I hear it all the time, oh, eBay hates me and I got kicked off eBay. eBay gave you plenty of warnings. eBay gave you plenty of chances to try to fix this. You know, I went in and looked at my negative and my neutral this week. What could I have done differently? I couldn't have. These 2 ladies were just not happy, and I couldn't have done anything different. They both got refunds and still left me a neutral and a negative. I couldn't have helped them, but I have 50,000 other people that were happy, and you know we can't please everybody. But the thing is when you've got to look at your dashboard every day and see where you're sitting. That's something I do every morning. I look at my seller dashboard every single morning to see where I'm at.
Now we have about 9 minutes left on here. Let's get into the defect because Danny Ackerman's just like you guys been doing it forever. I think what they call eBay angels. You guys been doing this forever, and you guys are one of the very few. And I'm glad I've talked to all you guys, and that have been doing this forever. So you know the ins and outs of eBay, and you always get the little secrets before stuff happens too. Not because you're in with eBay, but you've been doing it for a long time. And let's talk about the eBay defect ratings because when I first talked to you, I'm like, you warned us, you warned everybody that the eBay defect rating's coming out. Just be careful of some stuff and keep an update before it happens and then after it happens, and then you can always see who's the one that left you the defect. Well, sure enough, for a month, I just got it back. I lost my top-rated seller even after having a 100% defect rate because somebody by accidentally didn't know that you could do size doesn't fit. He did item not as described, and we closed the case and fixed it. But I called eBay up for an hour. Tell me we can't take it off because they just couldn't do it. They had to leave it on there for a year. And I'm like, how can this be? This system, how is it going to work if you guys can't take off mistakes? Now, I see that they're doing a false defect rate update. What is that exactly? Is this going to help what happened here with me?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is now they've changed the word defect or case to a request. So don't let that throw you off. The request is still a case. In many words, it's just a little lighter, but there are some leeways. I had someone open a case the other day that their item was not received, and so I was going to get a defect on it, but I put the tracking in. It showed it was delivered the next day. Okay, it got delayed in the postal system. I did not get a defect because it showed it was delayed, even though it was delayed by 2 days. You know, eBay's estimated time of delivery was going to be 4 days from when I shipped it, and it was 6. But I still didn't get a defect because it showed delivered. But here's the thing that you want to keep in mind is a lot of these, they're changing the wording now. So it used to be where the only reason when you wouldn't get a defect is you'd have to open up a question. Like you want to just say, hey, where's my item? And you'd have to go to other. Well, buyers don't know that. They'd go, where's my item? And that would open up a case. That's all being changed with the new changes, and it'll be, do you want to contact this seller? Do you want to ask them a question? I don't have the exact wording on what it is, but I can run a thing for you in Thrifting Lounge for you guys and give you a little thing. Dave Rayer, I would love for you to talk to him sometime. He knows the defect system really well, and he knows shipping and international shipping like no other. So he's one of my main admins.
Yeah, he's actually one of the ones that was promoted too on Cindy Sorley earlier. He was bumping the my thing that I wrote earlier for us because I was like, maybe to post this in a group because I mean having you on tonight. So I posted it anyway. I asked you and I posted it. But I mean, the defect rates is I don't see. My thing is I think after a certain point, if you have 100% feedback, then you should not lose your top rated seller. You know what I mean? Because you're doing everything right. Because I was very upset. I felt very like, you know, I'm 100% feedback rate. I have over 270 feedback, and I lost it for a month because of one person by accidentally put item not as described when he didn't know you could put item doesn't fit.
Yeah, and so the thing is they're looking into that kind of thing, and that will be looked at. But one thing that you've got to keep in mind too is if your numbers, like if you had that and that one took you out of top rated seller, sell some cheaper stuff and get your numbers. It's all a numbers game. So all a numbers game, and so you're going to hear me say that a lot. Go around the house and pick up a few things, get them sold, even if you're only going to make a few dollars, it'll get your numbers up.
I heard people going around and just cutting recipes out and selling them for like 99 cents free shipping because they get the positive feedbacks.
Well, they can get the positive feedbacks, but they're not going to get tracking because they're not going to get, the minimum amount you can get for tracking is $1.93. And so you want to make sure that you're at that 90% tracking so you can get your top rated seller, right, for tracking. And so I don't recommend it. I carry a line of patterns that are only $4.49. Part of the deal of carrying that whole line is that I carry the whole line. If my number starts to fall under 90%, I just take those off for a week or two because they're a pattern of Santa every year that comes out for $4.49. That's an incentive. Most people buy it from me, but they buy it with a lot of other items, but I do sell a few that I pop in a 49-cent envelope, and I sell them for $4.49, and so I don't get tracking on those. But if my numbers start to get below 90%, the other thing to keep in mind is when you're looking at your tracking and it says you're going to lose your top-rated seller because your tracking numbers fell below 90%. Remember that changes 15 times a day because it's 50 packages today. None of those are in the system yet, so it shows that you shipped 50 packages. None of them show tracking because they haven't had their first scan or they haven't had their scans. So that's something to really keep in mind.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people saying that I guess eBay's notified it and they've been fixing the problem where people aren't getting their stuff scanned in time and they're getting hit with the shipping time not done on time. But I heard people are calling eBay up and they're actually going back and fixing them because they're finding out that it's actually a glitch going on right now.
Yeah, so eBay listens. And eBay will help you. I have my pain points. I have pain points with eBay, but it's still the best venue for me, and I look on the positive. Change my life, Where can I make money while I'm sleeping, and where can I work for you. You know, no makeup, but I got dressed for you.
I'm the same way. Don't worry about me. I haven't shaved in a little while, and when I do shave, I tend to trim it up. But I want to ask this final question. What is your biggest sale to date? And what is the most unique item you've bought and sold?
My biggest sale was a piece of needlework that I sold for $4,000. But that was in the early days of eBay, 2002. That was pretty cool. I could have taken it to auction and probably gotten $5 for it, but it ended up going to England. It went back to England where it was from. I had picked it up for $300 maybe 10 years before, so I was excited about that. Strangest item I've ever sold was a porcelain doll head from France that I picked up in a mixed lot. I went down to Bluff, Utah to help Navajo Indians sell on eBay, and a lady was in the coffee shop. She said she had a whole bunch of dolls for sale. She wanted $700 for them. I knew nothing about dolls, and I go, well, what are their brands? She's telling me the brands. I had to go to the bathroom, you know, to go key them in, going, what are these, what are these, what are these? I ended up buying them, had to call a friend to come down and pick them up because they fit his whole flatbed, end of his 8-foot flatbed. You know, she said she had 40 dolls. She ended up having 150 dolls. Well, I ended up making about $9,000, but on the doll head I sold the doll head for $500 and some, but I got 35 emails from the lady telling me how to pack it. You know, that the eyes couldn't be this and the eyes couldn't be, I said, I'm never doing any more dolls. It was just the weirdest thing.
That's crazy.
Best thing I've ever bought on eBay was one of my Volkswagens. I collect Volkswagen Beetles, and I have a 71 convertible that I bought, and then I have a newer one, a new Beetle. But I'm a VW Beetle girl, and that was one of the coolest things I bought. And this McSorley sign, we're pretty proud of that. We love that thing. But I buy a lot. I buy a lot on eBay.
I'm the same way. It's like it's every week. I'm like, let me just wait for my PayPal to keep going up. Like this week, I had to drop $200 on actually about $100 actually on I need to get a new cast net because somebody for fishing because I fish a lot. Somebody stole my cast net from out back. I don't know how that happened. I couldn't find it last week. And then that's going to be $80, and now I got to get more line on my reel, so it's like $30. But it's like if I didn't do eBay, I would have never been able to do that. But now that I'm doing eBay, it's like, okay, take $100 in a PayPal, go down to Black Dog Bake Shop, buy my stuff, and I'll be ready to go. You know.
Yeah.
But eBay really has, like you said, it's changed my life. Yes, we all get pissed off at it. Yes, we all get mad. We all just want to be like, oh. But in the end, it's like it's making you money. You know.
And you're home, and you're not having to commute, and you're the boss. Really, you are what you make it. You know.
They don't understand it too. A lot of people like that don't understand what we do. They look at us and they roll our heads like, yeah, okay, get a real job, go do something, work a 9 to 5 like I do. And then you start telling them like, oh, well, what do you? And then you're like, what you do and what I do, and they're like, really? Okay.
Exactly. I get that a lot. People go, well, you have a master's in nursing. Why aren't you in nursing? And I go, I'm making more money sitting at home, working a few hours a day, than I ever did commuting to nursing, putting up with all the BS. So. But yeah.
Do something that you love like this. I love going out and finding. To me, it's like the thrill of the find. You get such a blood rush. Like if you find I have a Brioni suit jacket that I'm selling right now for $2,000, and when I found that thing, I was like, my hands were shaking. I had to quickly run to the register, buy it, and then come back in and buy the rest of the stuff because I was afraid anything bad was gonna happen to it. Stuff like that really gets my blood flowing.
Yeah.
There's only a few things like that gets me flowing. It's catching a big fish. It's finding a huge good find, and it's like hanging out with the kids and stuff, and having a really really good time that you can go back and think about growing up, stuff like that. But I mean, I'm sure you're the same way though. There's very few things that get you happy like that.
Yeah, and there are, and I love being able to help people in my group. When someone says, "Wow, you helped me so much," and I'm like, "Wow, okay," because I just, I know. There's a lot of things I don't know, but I do know needlework. Someone can come into cost and go, does anybody recognize this? And I can tell you the designer, the book it came from, if it was a kid or whatever, but that's just because I know that. But someone can tell me something else. Like I wouldn't know a man's suit if it was sold Walmart or if it was sold at, I don't know. But I'm the first to admit that, and that's why I said to you, Kevin, please give us a lesson on what to look for, because I walk right by suits.
I gotta write that up for you. It's just I've been so busy. It's because when I do write something, I want to make it like I'm like you. I want to make it perfect for the group. Yeah. That's gonna take me some time. So, but I know what it's gonna do is benefit your group. It's gonna benefit my group.
Exactly.
And that's how it's gonna be because there's a lot of people. Because I noticed when I start putting the suits up, like like what I bought and paid, they're like, what do you look for? What fabric?
Exactly.
All that stuff. All the stuff that I know, And there's also just like there are certain fabrics you use for cross point. It's the same thing with suits. It's the fabric. It's certain features in it that sell it, and it's just like it's also like you get that one buyer. You could have your item priced $30 more than what somebody similar has an item for you, but you get that one buyer that likes your listing and they like the way you take the photos and believe in your item. If they don't care the price, they'll buy it.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to tell you, Kevin, I know we've got to go, but people ask me how I store my stuff. You were asking me. Yep. Here's another one. So this is cross-stitch finished, not framed. And I have bins like this with designers and stuff, and they're in my room. And I'll do a thing for you guys in Thrifting Lounge and post. But so if I was sitting one night and I wanted to go list a whole bunch of these, I just go pull this bin, pull it down to the table, and list.
Yeah.
So, but my Dymo printer I use for labels, and everything's labeled. And I'll do some videos for you.
Yeah, I got to get a Dymo printer too. My friend found one, and he's gonna have selling. But he found one, and I've taught him everything that I've known, and it started. At first, it wasn't, and I know he's watching, so I'll call him out. Christian Hefter. At first, he wasn't. Because he's so new to the stuff, he doesn't know, and he really wants to make this his life, like how it's changed my life. And so he found this stuff, and I'm so proud of him because it's stuff that I wouldn't even pick up, and he knew it was going to sell good. So I'm taking my trade, and I see it working through him, and that really, like you said about, and I also say about people saying, oh, you helped me so much in my group and your group. And it's stuff like that that really knows what I'm doing is benefiting others and making them happy. Because there was a time a couple months ago where I was ready to quit everything.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was crazy. It got crazy and overwhelming, and I was ready to quit everything. And then I had Brianna, Josh, Sam, and Sky, and Bill Stoner. They all said, "Hey, listen, you got a really good thing and a rare thing here that you need to keep doing." And that's really the only reason why I stayed with it, and helping Christian and stuff. But seriously, if it can change lives and shows that you're changing people's lives, then you're doing something well, and that it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's part of my life, and it changed my life, and it's given me the opportunity to be at home, and having this little baby right before our 20th wedding anniversary was quite a shock to us. And now that he'll be 13 in November, I was home for all of that. So, but yeah, I'm willing to help anybody with needlework. I know other things, but needlework is my thing. I mean, I can just look at it and tell you, value and everything.
And again, just make sure you look up as soon as you get off here. I'm gonna end up posting in the after this video is all set and done, probably tomorrow. Post the link for your Cindy online sellers team and everything. And
make sure you message me though. Make sure you message me because I won't know who you are.
Yeah, definitely message her. I'll also write that too in the description here. Yeah. But go join her group and be serious about it because there's so much you can learn from her, and you can make. The bottom line is we all want to make money, and that's what she really teaches you, how you can turn a really good profit without really costing a lot either.
Yeah.
Which I know we really didn't touch on that a lot tonight, but I mean the profits are ridiculous in what we do here. But also, I'll be doing a video after this, probably about, it was supposed to start at 9, but just so much info I had to get from you. So start at 10, and we're going to have some special guests on. I'm trying to keep it small in the panel, but I mean, I might just open up for whoever wants to come on. I'm going to talk about, what I learned by marketing my group. Basically, it's going to be like a lot on selling and marketing, and just anybody can ask us questions. And we definitely, because it's going to celebrate the 5,000. Within 4 months, we've done 5,000 group members. We're already up to 53. That's my girlfriend. Thank you, Nikki. She rarely comes around anymore, but when she does, she likes to make her little entrance. But no, seriously, we're up to 5,300, and we hit 5,000, I think, a couple days ago. So it's really starting to go fast, and we're a great group of people. The only thing I ask is no bullying, and keep the talk really good. And I don't like to see the bullying. I'm the same way with you, Cindy. I don't like, if there's stuff going on, I get involved quickly and cut it off. And but I'm gonna have the hangout up here. Look on Thrifting Lounge and a few other groups. I'll be having the link up for the YouTube and the Google Hangout. It's going to be for 10 o'clock tonight, so I'll start hitting that out after I'm done with the video. And Cindy, if you're able to stick around, I don't know what your night's tonight, but if you're able to stick around, we'd love to have you on.
Okay, I'll pop back in. I'll pop back in a little while.
That'd be awesome. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You really need to start making videos. I'm telling you, because there's so much information you have people are missing out on. I'm telling you.
I've done a few. I'll do some more. I keep getting asked to make more. I'll do it.
Now, also, before we leave, you have a cool way of shipping your mugs. I know a lot of people are against it. I did it, but I haven't sold mugs in a long time, so I haven't been able to do it. But you do it the FOMO way, which you're the original person that figured out how to do it. Before we leave, quick, how did you make that concept, and how did you come up with it?
So what happened is I was in a meeting with the post office. They have me sit on a board with new things that are coming through, and they brought out these padded envelopes, and I went, "Whoa, those are cool!" You know, before they even came out on the market, they kind of showed it to me. So I kind of go, this is going to change the whole game of priority shipping. And if you remember when they came out, they were paper, and I said to them, no, this is not going to work. You know, they're padded inside, paper on the outside. I still have 1,000 of those paper ones because they sent me 1,000, and I think I still have about 900 of them. But they're now a hard, a plastic. But what I do is I take a cup. Most cups are over 13 ounces, so they will go priority because they won't go first class. What I do is I wrap it in bubble wrap, put cardboard around it, and put it inside a padded flat rate envelope. The reason why it came up with the FOMO method is because Jason Smith from Thrifting with the Boys and Thrift Hunters, he calls me his favorite former Mormon, FOMO, former Mormon, because I was born and raised Mormon, and he's got like 6 friends that are Cindy. So I called him up. I said, Jason, what do you think of this bright idea? What do you think? He goes, FOMO, you're genius. He goes, you're genius. So we started calling it FOMO shipping. But the problem is I can't say former Mormon shipping. So him and his wife Stacy came up with freely overcoming mug obstacles. So I came up with the concept. Jason came up with the name. So.
Yeah. And you do have a video on it, because I think I watched it 10 times when I tried my first one. I was trying to do the exact same way you had it. And you actually have a video of somebody sending you it. You know, you bought their mug, or they sent it to you for free, and just to make sure it worked, and it worked.
No, I bought it. I bought it.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't too sure.
Yeah, if you go to FOMOshipping.com, that's my website. I will be updating it in the next week. I got a million things with this wedding coming up. But I will be adding David Rayer's video to it. Also, David's got an incredible video on it, and I'll be adding that. I'll try to get to that this week and add his video to that listing. But FOMOshipping.com.
And have him with his YouTube channel. Have him go into my group, because I'm pretty sure he's in my group also. And have him throw out his YouTube channel too, because I try to promote everybody that's out there trying to help everybody else out, because I believe that's what we're all doing. You know.
That's great.
But yeah, definitely thank you for tonight, and I will see you in a little bit. It's going to be about a little after 10. I'm going to try to get everything going just like I did tonight.
The link will be in Thrifting Lounge?
Yeah, but I'm going to send you a private message with the link too.
That'll be great. Yeah. I'll go grab something to eat, and I'll go do that. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys in a little while.
All right, later.
Okay.